the low budget interview show, I suppose. And I have a very special guest today. He's an author, a podcaster, a publisher, a movie producer now. I'm sure many other things. The Paul Sheldon to my Annie Wilkes. It's Max Booth III. How you doing, Max?
Hey, I am doing good. I want to know what's that behind you. Is that a postal that just says candy?
No, this, and I'm trying to cover it because the light is reflecting off of it.
Yeah.
But it's that classic Great Gatsby cover that's the blue with
Yeah.
the woman with the bright red lips
Yes.
and everything. Well, this is it says Catsby,
Oh,
and it has a cat's image on it. My nephew, their cat's name is the Great Catsby.
that's
And,
great.
So this was the best place for me to sit here at my nephew's place, and I was hoping you could actually see it, but like I said, the light is reflecting right off of it, so I'm trying to block it with my big head.
I thought you just had like a framed photo of a ceiling fan, but now I realize that's just the reflection. It's like that's
That's
pretty
just
cool.
that's just the reflection. I kind of wish I could have done this at home because I love my background for my normal videos, which is my Marvel Zombies t-shirt quilt.
I've seen it.
Um, but again, for those who don't know, my internet has been cutting in and out for the past couple of days, so I'm at my nephew's place. Who they said their internet's been fine, so hopefully this will go well.
Someone's trying to prevent you from talking to me on Skype. The
Sons of
government,
bitches.
I assume. Yeah, those
Probably.
sons of bitches. Yeah.
They are. How are things in Texas?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, everybody's dying, but I guess it's okay.
Well, that's happening everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
I
Uh,
guess.
oh,
No, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was extremely hot, and then today it wasn't as hot, so that's cool.
Let's see. I think when you were -years old, I was in San Antonio for about 3 months when I was in the Air Force,
Yeah,
and I liked it. I liked the place well enough.
I like it a lot. I like Texas. I've grown to like it a lot over the years since I moved from Indiana. I like the most of the people I meet in Texas. I like how it looks. I think it's pretty beautiful. I do think it gets way too hot sometimes, and it should cut that out. But besides that, pretty cool.
Well,
Pretty
I'm
cool.
here in Ohio, not a fan of the cold. So yeah, I enjoyed my time there. Although you talk about the heat, I was in basic training, and they would have what they called Black Flag days, where
Oh, you would just sit around listening to Black Flag?
unfortunately it wasn't that good. It was just if it was so hot they could not make us march.
Hmm.
Which of course in basic you're supposed to march in file everywhere you go.
Yeah.
They would put a black flag up, and you got to stroll everywhere.
Sounds like a good day.
But yeah, and I
You could
didn't mind it.
yeah, you could have had some TV parties on those days. Yeah,
Well, I
that's a
mean,
Black Flag joke.
but once I got out of basic and could get into town, I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, that was all in San Antonio.
Yeah,
Cool, cool.
yeah. I
Yeah,
assume.
what base was it?
Well, it was Lackland
Okay.
for basic training and tech school, and then Camp Bullis
I don't know that one.
I went
I'm
to for combat training.
okay. I'm right next to a Randolph base, which is just outside of downtown San Antonio. The hotel I used to be employed at, we would get all the trainees staying at that hotel. So it was a pretty big military hotel for the most part.
All right.
A lot of shuttle buses in and out.
That's what we had to take if we were leaving base. We had to take the bus.
Yeah. It was always funny when someone would sleep in and miss the bus and come running down and go, why didn't you wake me up? And I'm like, I don't know who you are. Why would
Yeah,
I randomly wake you up?
it's not your job. So how did you end up in Texas?
I knew some folks who lived in Texas, and I desperately wanted to escape Indiana. So I said, Texas seems like a good place. And I wrote some Wikipedia articles for some indie writers who wanted to be more established looking, and they paid me $50 a piece, and I did three of them, and I used that money to buy a bus ticket, and I left. Yeah.
Who were the writers that you wrote? Can you tell us?
No, I don't want to shame them.
Okay.
If I had paid someone to write a Wikipedia article for me, I would not want them telling anyone. Although I do now have a Wikipedia article. As of like last week, someone made me one. I paid zero pennies. I paid nothing. It's pretty. I immediately saw things that were not true. So I I messaged the person who wrote it. I said, "Hey, that's not true. You have to."
Does it cover your whole career?
No. No. I don't know what you would say for my whole career. I mean, he published the book with this company. They turn out to be bad people. You just repeat that like 3 times.
Three? Well, I know of two.
uh, One I don't talk about too often. One of them at least three. I don't know. I've had issues many times with publishers. I have one going on right now, but I'm not going to talk about that one too often because uh, lawyers are involved, and it's probably best if I don't talk about it at the moment.
Well, hopefully, you don't have that problem with Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing.
That would be odd, though I do often hate myself, so
Don't screw yourself over.
I've screwed myself plenty.
Well, we're good. You know that actually, I was going to save this. I only have one note card
Okay.
that I brought with me, and it just says masturbation on it.
Well, I have note cards. Let's see what mine
What's up
say.
with that?
I don't know. Mine say nothing. Just blank. I have
I've
like
done that
1,000
before.
in my
When I
desk.
interviewed Mike Lombardo, I just had a
Yeah.
bunch of blank note cards and acted like I was reading off of them. And I thought about starting with a joke and having a bunch of blank cards and coming on and saying that I had to look you up online,
Yeah.
and I was going to ask if you or are you not the author of World War Z?
I wish. I wish. Imagine if my dad was Mel Brooks. My God, that'd be amazing. One of the
And
funniest
then
guys to ever live.
assuming I assumed you would say no, and then I was just going to go through like 10 note cards and be like, all right, well, I can't ask these questions. But then I just thought I'd go with I figured masturbation was the way to go.
Well, what's the question?
So what
Yes.
I don't know what.
The
I just
answer is
have a note
yes.
card that says masturbation. What's up with that?
I don't know. It's a thing to do.
Seems to be an ongoing theme in your
It
podcasts.
does.
And
I don't know why. It's not intentional, so I don't know what to say about it. It's
you
a
even
thing that I
had,
keep. Go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, you even had some Vince Vaughn sound effects recently.
Well, I mean, if I'm talking about peeping toms, there's no way I cannot bring up that insane scene from the Psycho remake with Vince Vaughn, which is what the episode of Ghoulish was about. Peeping toms. I did you know about that scene before I posted the clip?
I did. I've never
Yeah.
seen that version of Psycho, but I have seen that scene because that's the thing that it seems whenever people talk about that version, aside from saying it's horrible, it's that specific scene that people talk about.
When I brought it up on the podcast, both Michael and Bob acted like I was nuts, and for a second I thought, "Oh, wait a second, did I make this up?" But then I realized they were just gaslighting me. I was right the whole time.
Again, more sons of bitches.
I never forget a jack off.
Well, how can you? I mean, that's just cinematic gold.
always fun, I think, in a movie when there's a masturbation scene because I think it is still kind of a taboo a lot of people don't talk about. And whenever you do see it in a movie, it really like grabs your attention. Like, what's that fucking there's something about Millie. The opening is just one giant masturbation joke. It's the best scene of the movie.
Well, what are your top three masturbation scenes in movies?
I I couldn't name them. I couldn't choose. There's
Been
so
trying to
many good
think.
ones.
I've been trying to think of some, but they all seem to be. I know there are scenes in horror movies, but all I can think of is comedies.
Yeah, I actually can't think of anything now that you ask me. Uh,
Oh, put you on the
I,
spot.
my favorite masturbation scene is probably in um, What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
See another movie I've never seen.
I don't know if there's a masturbation scene in that movie. I was trying to think of of an innocent type of movie that wouldn't have it, but I can't think of anything innocent off the
One
top of
in
my head.
Bambi.
Yeah, the Bambi jerk off scene was insane.
Excuse me.
There's
All
a
right, so
thing you don't know about in Disney movies, but in every Disney movie, someone ejaculates at least once. Usually you can't see it, but it's happening.
I don't doubt it. Those animators are perverts.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you mentioned ghoulish,
I did.
and so first of all, do you have a trademark on how you say that, or does everybody have to say it that way?
Anyone can say it that way if they want to. I think it's fun to say it as ghoulish, but I mean anyone can say it. Sometimes I just say ghoulish. Maybe I'm
I
not in the
think
mood to do a deep growl.
I think I have said it that way a couple of times in some of my other videos
Yeah.
when I've reviewed either your stuff or stuff from Perpetual Motion Machine. Um, so as I understand it, Ghoulish, your podcast, was originally supposed to be about Brian Keene's coming of age novel Ghoul,
I mean,
and
that's
then
what I told him.
he hit you with a cease and desist. Is that, or do I have my facts mixed up?
No, Brian King can't afford to get a loyal. You kidding me? He threatened it, but then I called him out and he said, I don't have any money. He tried to get me to subscribe to his Patreon, and I said no. Uh, thinking about the way I say ghoulish, I think it's because I have a difficult time finding the energy to do the intro in the beginning of an episode, because usually I do the intro a few days after I do the episode when I go to edit the episode, and I'm really low energy usually, and if I say ghoulish that way, it kind of pumps me up and I get into the flow of it. But if I just said welcome to ghoulish, I would fall asleep before I finish the intro.
All right, well, whatever works for you, I guess. I've noticed myself in some of my review videos when I'm low energy, I find myself just I'm just like, all right, so I'm talking about a book like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to keep the energy up.
It's difficult with like doing YouTube stuff and podcasts. Like right now, I'm extremely low energy. I don't know what to do. I don't do hell drugs, so I guess I would just have a mountain of cocaine in front of me. That would be interesting and also illegal.
Have you gotten into a normal, what most people would consider a normal sleep cycle now that you're not working at the hotel anymore?
Yeah, I have. I go to bed about midnight, 1 o'clock, and I try to wake up by 7, but fairly often I have trouble. So but I'm usually up by 9. So yeah, I quickly. It took like a week after I quit my job, but then I fell into a pretty good sleep schedule, and I'm liking it. I like going to bed by 11 also because it almost feels like I'm doing something naughty. Because I spent like 8 years working 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. and now I don't do that, and it feels like almost how a kid would feel staying up all night, but I'm doing the opposite, and that's it just feels nice to me. I don't know.
See, I have to get up at like 4:30 in the morning for work, so I go to bed much earlier than midnight or
What do
11.
you do?
I work at a factory building transformers, but not the cool robot kind, unfortunately.
I think I'm dumb. Then what is that? Like electrical transformers?
Yeah.
Like okay, cool.
Yep. We build small ones and we build giant ones. You know, the kind that blow up when you don't want them to.
I've seen in front of my hotel we had one. I think most buildings have one in front of them. But anyway, we have they're called grackles. Do you know what grackles are? It's like these small black. They almost look like crows, but they'll I don't know, they're different. They make a really annoying sound, and they kind of loyal around like grocery stores and like by the hundreds. And they always like fucking explode on those transformers. It would be the funniest thing, just fucking clouds of black feathers. Yeah, they're called grackles, but they're
So they're
mostly
like
in San
dumb crows.
Antonio. Yeah, dumb crows. It's funny, like, do you know what HEB is? You might because you lived in San Antonio, but I don't know when HEB was founded. It's the local San Antonio grocery store.
Okay.
Anyway, I like from like 6 a.m. to like 9 a.m. when the HEB opens, the parking lot is just nothing but these builds. Most of them won't even move out of the way unless you honk at them. It's really terrifying if you don't know what they are. And by the way, HEB, it's the initials of the guy's name who founded it. And this is true. His last name is Butts. And I find that really funny.
Well, of course it is.
When someone told me that, I did not believe them. I had to Google it.
So Ghoulish,
Yeah.
not about Brian Keene. Although I mean, I loved that first episode. I thought that was great.
I'm so glad he said yes when I brought up the idea.
Well, for those who don't know, although I think anybody who normally watches my videos, I did a tribute to you, and talked about how I had seen your name, some of your books on Amazon, but it was your appearance on Brian Keene's podcast that that got me to go and listen to your podcast and finally pull the trigger and buy some of your books. But it sounded like, if I remember correctly, were some people were there some people that didn't get the joke with that first episode of Ghoulish?
I mean, maybe. I don't know now. We might have gotten some tweets. I don't know. Anyone, my memory is anybody who listened got the joke and thought it was funny. A few people might have thought that I actually tricked him. I don't know if anyone was like, "Oh, I realize you tricked him, but this isn't a fun joke." If so, I've blocked it from my memory.
All right, or maybe my memory is wrong. What do I know?
It's really possible. I often forget everything that happened about everything. So
Wait till you get to be my age.
I won't make it.
It all starts to go. So Ghoulish, you do talk about spooky things,
Spooky things.
and now sometimes it's obvious, or at least it seems obvious, that you've got, let's say, Mike and Bob have a novel called They're Watching, and so you talk about voyeurism.
Yeah.
But other times I don't make that connection immediately. So do you pick the guest, let them pick a subject? Do you pick a subject, find a guest that's right for it? How do you
I've done
set up your
both.
show?
I've done both ways, but usually I find a guest, and usually I find the guest because I just read a book they wrote, and I tell them, "Hey, you want to come on the show and promote this book?" And then if they say yes, I say, "Okay, well, you can pick the theme. It should probably somehow tie into this book you wrote, but if not, I mean, it could be about anything you want." But most of the time, it's about something they wrote. Sometimes, like a friend of mine will just message me and say, "Hey, I wanna talk about this topic," and Ghoulish would be a good place to do it. Like my friend Kelby Losak, he randomly DM'd me and said, "Hey, I don't know if I ever told you, but when I was a teen, I was possessed by a demon. You want to do an episode?" I said, "Yes, I do."
How can you say no to
like,
that?
also, like, say, who did I recently talk to? I haven't done many episodes lately because I was away. Caitlin Sterling. I I've always wanted to know on the podcast. I think she's a good writer, and she had a book coming out about poisons, and I got a advanced riddles copy, so it seemed pretty logical that she would be a good guest to talk about poison. And poison to me seems like it would make a good episode topic. It has to be a theme or an idea that we can actually talk about for at least 20 minutes. Otherwise, it's I don't know what we're gonna do unless it's the guest is like a good friend of mine, like Michael and Bob, and I know I can just kind of riff around and joke, and we can make time with what we talk about.
Right. Well, the poison episode was the one that got me to buy some Mary Roach. Is that
Yes.
the right name? I
Yeah.
don't know why I want to say Emily. But it's yeah, I've picked up a couple of her books because of that. Frankly, you should be getting kickbacks because there's I don't know how many books I've picked up just from listening to your show.
If you click I usually include a bookshop.org link in the show notes. And then if you click that link and buy it, I think I do get some type of kickback. I don't know. I've never checked. I might have money waiting in my account. I should
Oh,
see.
I'll have to. Well, I haven't. I listen to the podcasts at work just on my phone, uh,
Yeah.
and have never looked at the show notes. But I'll do that from now on then. And
I probably owe you something because of the tweet you posted. I got Miss Roach on the show.
that was a good episode as well.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed talking to Amelia Roach. That was a really fun conversation. It definitely only happened because you tweeted about it and she replied, and I said, you should come on the show. And she then followed me and DM'd me. It was great.
Well, I'm glad that happened. But that's I mean the whole reason I have my YouTube channel is just I want to promote books, promote authors, promote publishers. Uh, I've been a horror fan, well, a reading fan forever, and so if I can bring people together, that's just that's good. A friend of mine just apparently bought the Kindle copy of Antioch
Oh, cool.
because when we were first talking about doing this interview, a friend of mine who's an editor.
Hmm.
Um, I was talking to her, and she asked what I was reading, and I was reading Antioch. And I just sent her the link. She said, "Well, what's that?" And I just thought it was easier to send her the link than try to describe
Yes.
it. And she was like, "Sounds great. Just ordered the Kindle." So,
Oh, sweet. Well, thank you.
and I just finished that yesterday.
Oh, what did you think of it?
And well, I don't want to give anything away, so I
I've
don't know.
noticed I've noticed about 50-50 on the ending with the reviews, and that was pretty much expected, at least on my end. I mean, I've written books too, but the end kind of took a drastic turn, and I can kind of guess that it's not going to always vibe well with people, but that's okay too.
I will be recording a review this coming weekend for it, and I'll just tell you it's going to be a positive review.
Yes.
Because again, don't want to get into anything and spoil anything.
Imagine if you hated it and we just got into it right now. Like that book was a piece of
That
shit.
book was horrible. What the heck were you thinking?
When I was done with that book, I pissed on it.
I've never burned a book before,
Until Antioch.
and I love that cover. Beautiful cover on that.
That's a crazy cover. Anytime I try to post a JPEG of it, the colors like change. I don't know how to promote that book anymore because it never looks the same. Anytime I post the JPEG online, Matthew Reville, I don't know how the fuck you say his last name. It's something French, I think. An Australian Frenchman? That can't be right. I don't know what I was saying. Anyway, yeah, it's a good cover.
Speaking of the books published by Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing, with Antioch, you had a postcard
Hmm.
for people who pre-ordered.
Yeah.
And then the book before that, standalone, you had the trading cards
Yeah.
with serial killers. So how do you come up with these promotions?
It's a collaboration between myself, my wife and publishing partner Lily Michelle, and the Rydell as well. I would say both of those two books, the Rydels came up with the idea. I mean, I approach them and I say, "Hey, we need to think about something cool and hopefully cheap we can make that will not benefit, but inspire Bookstagram, the Instagram book community to post cool photos of it. So anytime we do like a special thing like that, there's two motives behind it. It motivates people to buy it directly from the website, and also we send all the goodies and a free copy to anyone who is like a big name on Instagram, and it stands out as a photo.
Well, I'm relatively new to Perpetual Motion Machine. So have you done, well, we'll get to the pizza one in a minute, but so what other things have you done, or is this something new, relatively new?
I've done stuff in the past, but nothing like consistent because I'm also pretty new to how influential Instagram can be. I was kind of late to that game, so I'm trying to really take advantage of that whenever possible. I'm trying to think of other books we've done, like we included goodies. I know we have, but nothing's coming to mind. Besides
So
the
far,
pizza book, obviously. Oh, I have something. I did a collection called "Stealing Perpetual Hats from the Dead" by David James Caton, and we bought actual Perpetual hats, and we included one in every pre-ordered copy. But also, it was fun because we hung them up in the garage of our house, and we had fake blood into like a spray bottle, and we were just spraying them with blood. And it was just, I was laughing just imagining what anyone driving past the house must have been thinking. So that was something we included. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but like I know we did like fake plastic spiders with the Eight Eyes That Watch You Die by W.P. Johnson. We always try to include something kind of cool and custom to the book.
oh, it's really cool. I like it. I generally, even though people say, it helps when you pre-order, I generally don't pre-order stuff, but I have the last few books that PMMP has put out. Um, and it's one, to help the publisher, two, to get the cool pre-order stuff that comes with it. Um, and
Thank you.
so
Thank you so
now
much, man.
with the pizza book, Tales from the Crust. Now
Yeah.
I ordered the special edition, so I got the pizza cutter and the box and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Um, was there any type of promo for people who pre-ordered the paperback?
No, I don't think so. I think we kind of spent all the money we had making this outrageous pizza box edition.
I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I was on the site, the PMMP website,
Yeah.
and I had two or three books in my cart,
Hmm.
and I went to the Tales from the Crust, and I did not know there was a special edition. And as soon as I saw that, unfortunately, I had to take the other books out of my cart
Yeah.
to order the special edition.
I'm in love with the way that book is shaped, the special edition one. I
Mhm.
wanted just to do that edition only, but it would have cost way too much money. So we just limited it to a limited edition. I'm excited about next year, and I think March or April. I'm doing a book by Michael Allen Rose called Jurassic Christ, and we're printing it like the tiniest dimensions we all allowed, and the cover is gonna look like a holy Bible. Is We're gonna try to get like some ribbon bookmarks fill it. It's gonna look like a tiny pocket Bible, but
Wow, that's sweet.
it's about Jesus fighting dinosaurs with the machine guns.
Sounds like the greatest story ever told.
As old as mankind.
Exactly. Um, so yeah, I've enjoyed everything I've read so far from PMMP. I have not read Tales from the Crust yet.
That's okay.
Um, I have. I've counted. I have over 700 unread books
Wow.
at this point.
I
So,
believe it.
and
I
I try to go back and read some. There's some I've had for quite a long time that I haven't read yet, but then I get something brand new like Antioch, and immediately as soon as I finish whatever I'm reading at the time Antioch comes in, I jump in on that. Um,
I am the same way. I do the same thing. I have many unread books, and the same thing happens to me. I will be almost done with a book, and I will think, okay, I'm going to go back to some of the other books I began but did not finish, and then something new comes in, and I go, let's try this right now instead. It's impossible to get through them all, but that's a good thing, I guess. It's a good issue to have. Yeah. When I was a kid, I never like owned a book. I always just rented them from the library, and now I own so many books, and it's really cool.
oh,
Yeah,
love it. Love having books.
yeah.
Yeah, it was always the library when I was a kid, and a few books here and there. I had relatives that I was lucky enough to get books for Christmas occasionally.
I was never
But
able to buy books, but my mom had countless old paperbacks from, I guess, when she was younger that I would just find laying around in boxes. And a lot of those were Stephen King books, so that's how I got like introduced to him. And a lot of James Patterson books.
I think I've read one James Patterson.
I've read a lot, and I liked him when I was a kid, but then I grew taste, and I realized, oh wait a minute, crime fiction doesn't have to be this dumb.
Well, oh, see, now you've given me two things. I was going to say, since you mentioned Stephen King, so we'll go with that first.
Okay,
We'll skip crime fiction for the moment. Well, first of all, what's up with Castle Rock Podcast?
what's up with it? What do you
Uh,
mean?
it seems like it's been a while since
It's
there's been an episode.
I think since July. Yeah, I'm hoping to get one recorded this week. It I don't know. It's difficult to do a show with a co-host. It's difficult to schedule things in advance. She wants evenings mostly,
Okay.
and in the day we have a kid running around, so it's just difficult to get anything done on a timely manner. I'm hoping now that I am self-employed, it'll be easier since by the time the kid would go to bed or she would get home from milk, I would have to go to my job. And now
Right.
it's different, but I was also in Michigan for like a month after I quit my job. So now I'm back, and I'm hoping to do a new episode this week and go back on a weekly schedule.
So just a time thing,
It was a
basically.
time thing. Yeah, it was like, shit, this another week has passed and we didn't make time to do something. Well, next week, and then a new week would pass. But I'm in the process of reading a few new chapters of The Stand because we're supposedly doing a serialized recording of The Stand, and hopefully we're gonna record something this week about it. It's coming back.
Well, I just read The Stand for the first time earlier this year.
Yeah,
Seemed like the time to read it.
it seems
And
it's terrifying.
and you talked about, you mentioned all the paperbacks your mom had around, and I specifically bought the the edition of The Stand that has the black cover that's like a guy's face and a crow's face
Yeah.
superimposed,
Mhm.
because that was the book that I would see my neighbor's mother was reading it, and that was the copy she had. So that was the one I always saw,
Mhm.
and I was like, I have to have that copy.
Of course. Is that the long edition or the
No,
edited? Oh, okay.
it's not, because I've noticed in some of the chapters you've covered
Yeah.
in the podcasts that you're talking about things I did not read.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm not positive what was changed in that in the new edition, besides like the decade. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to. I'm not gonna read both. I was gonna say I guess I'll have to. I'm not gonna do that. I'm
And
having
what?
a difficult time getting through one edition.
How do you feel about him changing the decade? Does that matter to you, or
I mean, it doesn't upset me. I find it unnecessary. I don't know. I'm not quite positive why he did it. I haven't looked into his reasoning. Yeah, I don't know why he did it. I'm not like upset about it. I'm not like, Stephen King, you bitch.
Well, I'm doing a read through of a bunch of F. Paul Wilson's books,
Okay.
and The Tomb. Have you read The Tomb?
I haven't read anything he's written.
Oh, okay. Well, it's the first Repairman Jack book,
Okay.
and he's got this whole secret history of the world that goes through so many of his books, including the Adversary Cycle and the Repairman Jack books, and it's like a 3-year timeline, but they're books that he's written over decades.
Oh God.
So the first Repairman Jack book, when it originally came out, he was using payphones, he was watching VHS tapes, and all
Yeah.
of this stuff. And then a new edition came out, and he's watching Laserdisc or DVDs. He updated it.
Okay.
I think because it had to fall into this time frame, which includes 9/11. So you couldn't have a 3-year window that included 9/11, but had this old technology.
That sounds so confusing. I don't. Why make this decision to make things difficult?
I don't know, and I've actually talked. I'm doing a video series where I'm reading through the books that I have of the secret history of the world, because in the back of the books it lists every story that is part of this secret history. I only have the Adversary Cycle books and the Repairman Jack books, so I'm reading through it, and I review each one, and then I talk about how it all fits together. And in almost every one of the videos, I'm just like, how is this whole timeline fitting together, and why is it? But
So I know nothing about these books. Is this like some type of spooky mechanic? What is this?
Oh, Repairman Jack is basically, I guess, like a vigilante for hire.
Okay.
He lives off the grid. Has
Ooh.
no social security number, all that kind of stuff, and people hire him to fix their problems.
Gotcha. So
But there's
is it more like episodic then, like a new book, a new issue?
yes,
Okay.
but there is some carryover, and the Tomb being the first one, the second one he wrote 20 years later. But they take place within like 6 months of each other. It's crazy.
It sounds
It's
so
not,
needlessly complicated.
but but and it all goes back to pre-World War II.
Okay.
With the Keep. The Keep was in World War II. That's
Yeah.
his vampire novel.
Okay.
And there's characters from that are in these modern times novels now.
Okay.
And it's a wild ride.
That's pretty cool.
I had read The Keep way back in the day, and I had read the first 4 Repairman Jacks, even though I had all of them. And I just decided it would be something kind of cool to do, to read through what I had. Again, there's still a bunch of these secret history books and stories that I don't have.
Yeah.
But read through, I have like 22 of them. Read through them in order, in story chronological order.
Right.
And review each one, and then talk about how they all connect.
Okay.
And it all ends with Night World.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at his chronology, Night World takes place in year 0. He calls it the end of the world as we know it.
Okay.
And then all the books, as you go backwards through the chronology, it's year 0 minus 1.
What
is
the
a
fuck?
year before it's wild. But it was I've read the old version of the Tomb and the new version of the Tomb.
Yeah.
And it's weird to see that the changes that were made, because he had to update it.
I can't imagine ever like myself wanting to just update the technology of a book after I released it. I don't know. Like I'm trying to think about it from like a movie perspective. Like can you imagine just why would you do that? I don't know. I mean, what's wrong with just leaving it in that time?
I don't know. From a movie perspective, I suppose I could see it, because it would be easier to make let's say The Stand.
Hmm.
I mean, they are making the new series.
Yeah.
Easier to do it in the modern day because you don't have to worry about costuming and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Would be to do it as the period piece. But yeah, from a book standpoint, I don't see why you need to update it.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe in the future I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna re-release all these books and everybody's gonna have flying vehicles now. How about that?
That would be, yeah. Let's see that science fiction future version of The Stand. It's 2 pages. They wipe it out immediately,
Yeah, it's
and nothing happens.
Seal 3000. A virus breaks out, and we use all awesome medicine to immediately destroy it, and everybody lives.
Just like in 2020.
Yeah, just like that.
Just like things are going now. I must confess, I have not read Stephen King's It.
That's fine.
I want to.
Yeah,
Have not gotten around to it.
it's a commitment. My only advice is not to rush through it because I rushed through it to do the podcast, and it made me almost hate the book because of the how much I was forcing myself to read at once. It's definitely a book that you should take your time on.
Well, I did start it once, and I have a love-hate relationship with Stephen King.
Okay.
Um, and so I started it and got maybe 200 pages in,
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm bored,
that happens. Yeah.
and I set it aside. But to be fair, I don't know how it is for you when I'm reading. Sometimes my mood affects my reading.
Absolutely.
Because years and years, long time ago, decades ago, I read Pet Cemetery.
Hmm.
For decades, I've been telling people it is the second most boring book I've ever read.
Oh no.
But I just reread it this year and I absolutely loved it.
So good. I love that book.
I
Yeah.
thought it was fantastic. I didn't want to put it down. I
One of the,
resented having a job.
it's one of the best endings I think he's written too. So good.
So I can only assume that the first time I read it, I just wasn't in the right mood for it.
Yeah, that happens. Same thing
And
happens with the movies as well. I mean, music, movie, any type of entertainment, if you're not in the right mood, you will not going to consume it the way it was intended. So anytime I see a bad review of one of my books, I'm like, they just weren't in the right mood.
I have reread some things that I didn't like. Obviously, Pet Cemetery, but um, Christopher Moore,
Hmm.
Practical Demon Keeping.
I'm a big fan of him.
First time I read it, didn't like it.
Hmm.
And then I think the next thing I read might have been Lamb,
Yeah,
which I thought was hilarious.
so good. I love
So I
that
went
book.
back and read Practical Demon Keeping, and I enjoyed it. And I read a bunch of his stuff. And The
He,
Stupidest Angel used to be the book I would read every December.
I need to reread that one. Maybe I'll read that one again next month. I love that book. I love most of his books. I'm not a big fan of his Shakespeare books.
Well, I think the last thing I read was the second vampire one that he did.
You suck.
Possibly. Well, wow, man, we've just met.
I'm just telling you how it is. Yeah, it
Well,
says blood sucking fiends, you suck, and bite me.
maybe bite me. I don't. It's been a while since I've read any of his stuff,
Hmm.
but yeah, I went back and I reread Practical Demon Keeping. I liked that, and I started picking up his stuff and reading it. And like I said, I love Lamb, one of the funniest books I've ever read.
I spend so much time in the spooky genre community that I don't see a lot. I don't like have a lot of conversations about Christopher Nolan, but he's awesome. I'm a huge fan of most of his books. He's really funny. I'm trying to think of a specific book I quite like, and I can't think of it now. So never mind.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember all the titles, although I could look. I actually have a list of every book I've read since 1985.
What the hell?
So I can.
Like how many titles are listed? Do you have it
Uh,
like pointed so you can tell immediately?
it's it's no, it is numbered, and I
Okay.
just read book 3,320, I think.
That's cool.
Um,
Do you do any like notes about like what you thought about it?
I don't,
Yeah.
and there are lots of repeats in there. So like Pet Cemetery's in there twice
Yeah.
because I've read it twice. Books I reread, are going to be in there every time.
Mm.
There is one graphic novel which I don't feel I should have put in there, so I haven't put any comic book stuff since then.
Okay.
And that was Watchmen.
Yeah.
When I
Did
read
you
Watchmen,
what did you think of the new HBO show?
I haven't seen it. I don't have HBO.
Okay. It's worth doing the free trial if you can. Just blasting through it.
Well, I will. I assume eventually I'll get HBO Plus, Max, whatever the new thing is.
Yes. Oh,
uh, whatever the new HBO streaming service is, I will eventually get because I would like to
yeah.
see it. I've heard great things about it.
Really good. I like that you have a list of all the like that. I think by social media and like Goodreads, because if I didn't have Goodreads, maybe I would have began like keeping an ongoing notebook document of all the books I've read. But instead, I'm just like, I'll rate it on Goodreads, and now people will know what I've read, and they will applaud me.
Well, I do that too now, of course, but I can't
Yeah.
break the habit. And one of my video series on YouTube is reading remembrances,
Okay.
and I just every week I go over a month of books that I read.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay.
like this Wednesday will be October 1987.
Okay.
So what I read in
Wow.
October of 1987, and then the week after that will be
That's
November. I'm
that's
just
really
going in
cool.
order.
I'm gonna get a little notebook and begin doing this. I like that. I'll begin doing that in 2021. I
There you
won't read
go.
anything else until then. I'll just stop.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
What are you reading right now?
I just finished Shaken by
Okay.
J.A. Conrath,
Okay.
and I have not decided what I'm reading next.
Okay.
With the internet out yesterday, I finished Antioch, and I had already started Shaken, but I had put it aside because a couple new things came in.
Yeah.
So I finished Antioch, then I finished Shaken, and yeah, I have not decided what's next.
Do you read one book at a time?
I do
Okay.
because I can't. I used to be able to do multiple books, but I can't keep them straight anymore. So I
I I envy that because I have the opposite issue. I can't concentrate on one thing at a time, so I have too many books going on, and it becomes a big problem with not being able to finish anything. I have that same issue with writing books as well. I can't concentrate. Built a dam.
yeah, well, see, that goes back to what we were my little note card, I think.
Yeah,
Not being able
usually
to finish
when I can't concentrate, I just go whack off, and that helps.
helps you relax, clears the mind.
Clues many things.
All right, so you mentioned crime and crime fiction.
Yeah,
Now, I believe I could be wrong, but you have said this is your favorite genre.
I think so. Maybe. Yeah, I love crime. I love crime movies. I love crime books. There's a specific type of crime I like. I think, especially with books, and that is when the so-called criminal is the protagonist. I'm not the biggest fan of when the competent detective is the protagonist. I tend to just not give a shit about it. So like but then again, I say that, but I also love James Elroy and most of his protagonists all shitty cops. So maybe that's it. If the cop is a shitty human being and there's no like justification of it, like say in a James Patterson book, then yeah, I'm with it.
Okay, so you anticipated my next question, which was going to get into the specifics of what type of crime novels you liked. I already know you're a fan of the Parker books.
I've only read one of them.
Oh, okay. The first one, I assume.
Yeah, the last
The
one,
Hunter.
I went nuts. Yeah, there's no reason why I haven't read the other ones. I just lots of books out, and I'm going to get to it eventually. Yeah, I like that a lot. I love anything by Alan Leonard. I love Elroy. I love Megan Abbott. Yeah.
Did you watch that show they made of
Not
her?
not yet. I don't.
Is it Dare Me?
I think so. Like there was no promotion. I kept forgetting that it was even out. But I need to check it out. Did
Now,
you
do
see
you?
it?
I know I didn't see it.
I don't even
Um,
know how to watch it. Is it streaming? Do I buy it? I don't know.
I want to say it was on USA,
What the fuck? Who
USA or
has USA?
TNT.
Okay.
I
I
don't know.
don't have cable now, so that doesn't help me.
We watch TV on Hulu Live,
Okay.
which is why I never got to finish watching Hap and Leonard because Hulu
Yeah.
Live doesn't have Sundance.
Okay.
But
I think it's available to stream on most of the places now. I could be wrong.
I do need to go back. I only saw the first season.
I think all 3 seasons were really good. Uh, I wish they had kept going, but I'm glad we at least got 3 seasons. But yeah, anything Joe Lansdale, I'm pretty much in love with.
So what is it? I was gonna move on to Joe eventually. What
Okay.
is it about Joe? I think you've said he's your favorite author.
Yeah.
So why is that?
What is it? Man, that's a good question. I'm terrible at explaining why I like things. I just like him. He's he can hit all the right emotions in one book. He could do funny. He could do terrifying. He could do uh, those are the only two emotions. Funny
I
and
think so.
terrifying.
That's it.
I love all of his I love the kill tilts he writes. They all feel really real to me. I like the dialogue. Dialogue's great. I love how kill tilts react to situations in his books. It's usually unexpected and fun. His books are really fun to me. Yeah, and he just has so many books out, and he almost never fucks up. It's he's so consistent in how good he is.
Well, I've
And I
always
also, one second. He's also inspiring, like in interviews when you watch and listen to him talk, because he knows what he's talking about. He has the best like writing advice that anyone has. Like his Facebook page, he sometimes will post writing advice. It's always really concrete. He's also, I mean, he's done this how many years now? He doesn't even have a fucking agent, which blows my mind. Anyone who's that type of level in the publishing industry, they have an agent, but he's done this without getting an agent. And I mean, look at the few movie adaptations that have been made and TV adaptations have all been excellent. I just he's really inspirational. Once in an interview, someone maybe many times in interviews, someone has asked like, "Well, what genre do you write?" And he always says, "I write in the Joe Lansdale genre," and
yeah.
that's something I try. I thrive to also do is to write in the Joe Lansdale genre.
Well, I've always said, anytime I talk about his writing or Happen Leonard especially, is that I think he could write an entire book with just Happen Leonard sitting at a table having a conversation, and I would read it and love it.
Same. That would be a great book. I wish he would write that.
Just the relationship between those two is one of the greatest relationships I think in anything I've read.
He has a new book that just came out. It's really good. I obviously can't think of the title, but it's kind of like a.
Is it More Better Deals?
It is. Yeah. Have you read that yet?
I have it. I have not read it yet.
I will say nothing other than it's excellent and one of his best books in a long time. My favorite of his is most likely Paradise Sky. Have you read that one?
I think that's another one that I have and have not read yet.
Okay, yeah, that's truly mind blowing in how beautiful it is. So
The
Western,
last one I read was Honky Tonk Samurai.
haven't read that one yet.
Um, Sunset and Sawdust is one of my favorites.
Okay.
And of course, I love his short stories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he's actually an author that I was reading before I knew I was reading him
Oh yeah, how so?
because I used to collect Twilight Zone magazine
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
uh, read those all the time, every issue. And then when I started reading, when I picked up some Joe Lansdale short story collections, I
Yeah.
recognized some of the stories and said, wait a minute, I've read this guy before. He's fantastic.
That's pretty cool. I'm pretty behind, I think, in the Hap and Leonard books. I think I've read three or four of them, but there's like how many now? At least a dozen, I would say.
Oh, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those. Every book of those I've read is like, ah, this is outstanding. But I know if I like decide to go through each one, I'm not gonna get anything done for the next like 3 months. So I'm trying to space them out. But
Yeah.
I love the title Honky Tonk Samurai, and I'm
Oh, absolutely.
excited to eventually get to it.
It's a good one. Have you read his Batman book?
No, I have not. Is it a comic?
No, it's a novel.
What the fuck?
It's
I
a
didn't.
novel. It's from the 80s, I think.
Okay.
And it's I believe it's called Murdered by Engines. And
Okay. I have no idea.
it's I had to find I think I found it on eBay.
Hmm.
Found a copy of it, but and I haven't read it in decades. But I believe it has a Native American shapeshifter who becomes a murderous car in Gotham.
That sounds about right.
And so yeah, it's a Batman novel by Joe Lansdale.
I know he wrote for the animated show.
I just watched one of the movies, and it had a Jonah Hex short that was written by him.
That dude does everything.
And I
It's all,
actually just found his old Jonah Hex comics that he wrote.
yeah, I haven't read any of his comical animated stuff at all. I need to. I should just spend all of 2021 consuming Joe Lansdale one piece at a time and also reading his books.
Well, but you got to pick the proper order to consume him in, or he won't be able to write any more books. You
That's
got to
really
start at the
true.
feet.
I'll leave his hands intact.
There you go. Well, I don't know. I suppose you could dictate.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know. Some writers can do that and some can't. I've tried and my brain doesn't work that way. I have to just shut up and slap my hands against the keyboard for anything to come out. If I try to come up with a sentence by just talking out loud, it's trash.
Are you working on anything right now, writing wise?
I am.
Can you tell
Uh,
us?
yeah, I'm writing a few books because, like I said, I can't just do one thing. One book is called at the moment it's titled Maggots Screaming, which it's a really strange title. It was I initially had it as the scream of maggots, but there's something kind of punk rock about maggots screaming, so that I'm kind of leaning toward that. It's about a dad and a son bonding over human decomposition.
Okay.
Yeah, I so it was great that I happened to also talk to Millie Roach recently, since
Right.
one of the books, Stiff, has been great at research with this thing I'm writing. And what else am I writing? I don't know. I'm doing a secret nonfiction book for Cemetery Dance, so
Okay.
that I haven't talked about it. I don't think I'm allowed to. It's going to be a while because it involves me reading a lot of books. And until recently, I didn't have the time. I'll happily tell you what that book is, and after we finish doing this. But yeah, I don't think I'm supposed to talk about it right now.
All right.
I'm
And
doing a lot of screenplay stuff as well, but also nothing I can talk about.
well, speaking of you just recently getting the time to do things, what can you tell us about what you were doing in Michigan?
Yeah, I was making a movie. based off of my novella, We Need to Do Something. I also wrote the screenplay, and I'm an executive producer on it, which is pretty nifty and cool. I drove down to Michigan as this company, Atlas Industries, along with the co-owner of the company, Sean King O'Grady, who is also the director of this movie. We all kind of moved into a hotel in Michigan, and we made this movie. They own a soundstage, which happens to be right next to the hotel we lived in. So we basically just would walk across the parking lot to this soundstage, and they built a bathroom inside the soundstage, and they fucking made a movie. I mean, I'm happy to answer any question that I'm allowed to answer, but I haven't talked about it publicly a lot, so I'm not positive what to begin with by telling someone, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
there's so many things I could bring up. I don't know what direction to take yet.
well, I've read the book,
Yeah,
which was actually the first book of yours that I read.
cool.
Because when you were on the Brian Keene podcast, you mentioned that, and um, I want to say Touch the Night.
That's it.
Okay. Those were the two that were coming out at that time or had just come out. So I ordered both of those and read We Need to Do Something. Thought it was fantastic. So I don't know what we could talk about that isn't going to either spoil the story
Right.
or, I mean, you can tell us who's in it, I
Yeah.
suppose. I mean, you've
Uh,
been on Twitter and everything, so.
yeah, I mean, Pat Healy, who has been in so many great movies. He was in fucking Magnolia, for crying out loud. And Vanessa Shaw, who is, of course, in what the fuck is that? Hocus Pocus. And she was in so many other movies. She was in the Hills Have Eyes remake. She was in Eyes Wide Shut. Sahila McCormick is the protagonist, the main star of the movie. She was in a recently released movie called The Vast of Night, which is how we discovered who she was. She's been in a lot of movies. She was also she's a big name from being in some Disney show as a kid called like Alien Ant Film or some shit like that.
Okay.
So she has a huge following because of that. But now she's like making all these strange splatter movies, and
Nice.
The Vast of Night isn't really bloody, but it's like a spooky science fiction movie. I don't know if you've seen it.
Hmm.
It's really fucking good. It was an Amazon original, I think, and I watched that, and I'm proud of this because I watched it, and I was one who hit up the other producers and director and said, "Hey, stop what you're doing and go watch this movie. We need to find this actress." And they listened to me, and then we found her, and then we got her in the movie. That was so yeah. If she's good in the movie, it was my idea. If she's not good in the movie, it's not my idea.
Well, we've got you on tape now saying it was your idea. So
She's great in the movie. It's outstanding how good she is.
well, I love
And
Pat Healy in The Innkeepers.
yep, that
Um,
movie rocks.
thought he was fantastic. Yeah, love that movie.
I saw
Uh,
that movie while doing a night shift at my hotel, and it was quite spooky.
I, I listened to the movie many, many times. I was moving from one place to another and had canceled my cable and
Hmm.
everything. And I always have to have something auditory when I go to bed. So usually
Okay.
I just have TV on, but I didn't have any TV at the time. So I listened to the commentary track on the Innkeepers like every night for a week. It
Wow.
was my background noise to go to sleep. Um,
How is it? Is it a good commentary track? I've only streamed it. I don't own like a Blu-ray of it, so I haven't uh, examined the special features of that
oh,
movie.
I think it's a lot of fun. I think
Cool.
it's a really good commentary track. Yeah, I like to get physical copies because I'm all about like the special features and stuff. Even
Yeah.
though I'm way behind on watching things, because if I ever have the choice or have to make the choice between watching something and reading, I always pick reading.
Hmm.
Um, so
I
I
also love like bonus stuff on movies, but I'm lazy though. I only buy like the physical media if it isn't already free in front of me. unless I truly, truly love it. And then that's been more lately with the physical media. Like, I'm looking forward to exploring more like special feature stuff down the line. I used to, as a kid, be obsessed with all the bonus material on any DVD.
So are we gonna have lots of bonus material on We Need to Do Something?
I would like that to happen. At the moment, I have no idea if it's even going to be a DVD. It might get picked up by a place like Netflix, and if that's, I don't know if Netflix does physical media. Maybe they do.
I know
Right
some.
now, it doesn't have a home, so
Well, someone needs to get on that and find it a home.
agreed.
If anybody
Agreed.
out there is watching this who has the power to make that happen, let's get on it.
Is A24 watching this interview? If so, hey, hit me up. I have a movie you should release.
Maybe Blumhouse is Blumhouse out there?
If so, don't hit me up.
No, not a Blumhouse fan.
No.
Okay. All right, so let's. I'd edit that out if I could. Let's just stick with A24.
I don't mind Blumhouse knowing I just dislike them. You listening, Blumhouse? Fuck
I've
you.
enjoyed some Blumhouse movies.
Oh yeah, they've made some good movies.
Uh-oh. Is there some behind the scenes stuff we should know about?
So what's the next question you have?
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. I did go on Twitter and ask people if they had any questions for you, and I did get a few responses.
Okay.
So I'm looking at Twitter here, and Roxanne Michelle, and I can't read what her @ is, but she said this is her favorite crazy question. If someone offered you a cooked human rib above board, let's say it was donated, would you be curious enough to taste it?
Yeah, I would. I eat meat. I would try it. What about you?
Sure, why not?
I mean, as
I've
long
read
as
Survivor Type.
if I see evidence that this was like it was legally obtained, well, yeah, why not? I'll try it. Depends how expensive it is too. I don't think I would eat free human meat because that seems suspicious. I would rather pay.
Someone just out of the back of a van, here's some human meat. Give it a try.
I'd rather go to like a restaurant and buy some, assuming it's a medium range. I wouldn't want to buy cheap. I wouldn't want to eat cheap human either. I want it to be like about like I don't know, $15 a plate. That seems right.
For a good sized rib.
Yeah. Yeah. So it depends on the cost.
Right. So, well, Ryan Lewis at Spin a Black Yarn, it looks like, wants me to ask what you think of Abba Zaba.
Abba Zabba's. So Ryan Lewis is my manager. He is the guy responsible for getting We Need to Do Something made at all, since he was the guy who helped me make it a screenplay and then shopped it to Atlas and then did all that. He's one of the producers on the movie, too. He recently, we were talking about a mutual love for peanut butter candies. He said, I quite like Abba Zabbas. And I said, what the fuck is that? He explained it. So we bought a case online. And it's like a taffy candy with peanut butter in the middle. And it's quite good. Although I'm frustrated with the packaging. It's difficult to open because the packaging sticks to the Abba Zaba, and it takes a while to get it free of its wrapping. So, not a fan of the packaging, but the material itself is pretty good. He also suggested I freeze it and try it that way, and it tastes almost the same. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Does it at least come out of the packaging easier if it's frozen?
No.
No. Then what's the point?
I don't know.
Yeah, I had when he asked that question, my response was, I don't know what that is, but I'll ask him. And then we have a Sam by any other, I suppose that's name? I don't know. I don't know how to use Twitter. She is a Sam by any other with a little picture of a bat. She wants to know, or he, I don't know. Did you ever dream about working in that hotel so long that you'd be trapped in there, even in death, like Lloyd in The Shining? Although I know he was a bartender and not the desk like you were.
I don't dream.
Is that true?
No, it sounded cool though. I don't know. I often got afraid that I would just be stuck at that job all my life. So I guess so. Yeah, I sometimes thought I would become this like 90-year-old old man, just working the same job, and that didn't happen. So let's hope I don't have to go back.
Well, that's it's good that you got out of there. My sister just started like days after you quit. She got a job working third shift at a hotel,
Probably my hotel.
but it's in Elyria, Ohio.
That's not the same hotel.
But it's fun. I was my reaction when you said you don't dream is I very seldom remember dreaming.
Same. I know I dream, but I usually forget about it almost immediately.
Most nights I'm asleep. I wake up. I have no recollection of anything in between. Usually it's if I wake up like half an hour before I have to get up and I try to go back to sleep and it's that real not deep sleep, that's when I'll remember or be aware that I've dreamt.
I don't think dreams are real, man. I think someone just made it up and everybody goes like, "Yeah, I dream too," so they don't seem strange. I don't think anybody dreams.
So it's like mass hysteria.
Yeah, like like the GameCube that didn't exist at all.
No one wants to be an outsider, so they're just agreeing. Oh yeah, I dreamed.
What happened to the GameCube? It kind of just disappeared.
It did.
That was a cool system. What was wrong with that?
I'm trying to remember if my stepbrother had one. He had a Dreamcast.
Yeah.
I think he had a GameCube.
GameCube was cool. I don't know why we decided that was a bad thing.
It went the way of the Betamax, I guess.
Yes.
Something just. Oh, see, I've been trying to avoid saying like it about things because I haven't read it. All right, and then that's all I had on Twitter because I have no followers anywhere.
That's okay.
But there was one on, let's see, there was one on Facebook.
Oh, yes. Who is that?
Well, where is it? There we go. Lucas Peterson on Facebook asked, "What is your writing process, if at all? And why do you keep the mini werewolf in your closet?"
I don't know what that second question is referencing. I do have a mini Wolfman. He's in my library, though. I've called him my son for many years, and he is still my son. His name is Chad.
I didn't have a
writing. Shut the fuck up. I can't keep track of all these lies. The only name I can fall back on is Chad. I don't know why. It's just extremely amusing to me to imagine someone named Chad. Shout out to all the Chads listening. I didn't have a writing process until recently, I guess. I'm trying to make one while I wake up around 7 and I go out on my front porch and I write for a few hours before continuing on to different jobs I have, such as publishing related things, freelance editing. I do a lot of freelance nonfiction online and also podcasting stuff. So I try to get a few hours of writing in the morning when I wake up with some coffee. I like writing on my front porch. because I don't know, it's nice out. It's a nice change of location. And we just installed a gate on the porch, so now I have my dogs come out, and I bought some dog beds, and they kind of hang out at my feet. And it's just nice. It's a nice way to live.
It sounds pleasant. A
Yeah.
nice. Are they nice, cool mornings? Does it get pretty hot in the morning out there in Texas?
It does. So we also we put in some outside blinds on the porch to prevent the sun from just cooking us alive. And I also have a fan on the porch as well plugged in. So most of the time it's extremely hot, so I have the fan on. Although this morning it was pretty cool. We got down to like 75. It was nice.
Oh, that was our high a couple of weeks ago.
Jesus.
Now we've got frost on the cars.
I don't no I spent the first 18 years of my life in Indiana, and I don't miss snow at all. I like cold weather. I like to be able to have a flannel on, as you can see. But anything beyond that, I'm grumpy about. I like a good flannel season. It's like Michigan in October. It was the greatest time of my life. It was the best type of weather. I got to see all the beautiful autumn leaves in Michigan. It was great. I haven't been in the Midwest in October in many years. It was great to see that again.
Well, I am a fan of autumn. It's my favorite season.
Yeah, I same. It's the best month.
All right. Well, I don't want to keep you forever.
Still do you?
So, well, we'll talk about that later. Is there anything you wanted to talk about? Anything you want to promote? Tell people where they can find you.
Go buy Antioch by Jessica Leonard. It's a good book. It's her debut novel. It's doesn't read like a debut novel. It's shocking, surprising, and a hell of a lot of fun.
It's a wild ride.
Yeah, it's a ride that is wild. That's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah.
Well, I will put links for PMMP in the description of the video. Anything else I should link to?
No, that would be the best thing to do. It's just a link to perpetualpublishing.com. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I need to go and pick up a few more things from there. Hit the back catalog.
Yeah, hit that back catalog.
There's some stuff I definitely want to pick up.
I can't even remember everything we've published now. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's been a while. We began this in 2012, I think. We've put out a lot of books.
Oh, and you just had your 10th anniversary issue of Darkmoon Digest.
Oh
Correct?
shit! Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I completely forgot that just came out. Same website. You can buy it at perpetualpublishing.com, and you can subscribe. It's like, I think the price is like $50 for 5 issues a year.
Yeah, it's a nice little magazine. And you have the young adult companion magazine now?
Yeah, it's called Night Frights, and that's also included in the subscription. So you get 5 issues of a magazine. We will be doing issue 2 of Night Frights next August. We will be opening to submissions probably in, I don't know, January, March. I don't know. Unless we all die. I have no idea.
Yeah, who knows what the world is going to be like by the end of the year.
I'm trying just not to think about it anymore. I get so insanely stressed about everything going on, and I try to tell myself there's nothing I can actually do about what's going on. I'm an ant above a fucking magnifying glass right now, so I'm just get up, try not to look at the news, most likely fail and look at it anyway, and just go out and get some writing done and get some editing done and keep my head down. It's not looking good.
Yeah, it's kind of scary out there, which is why I like to bury myself in the fictional scary.
Yeah, that's a great way to, to think about it. Books will distract us until the fucking bomb falls on us.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, on that down. Um, okay. Well, I guess I'm going to end the recording. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you.
Hopefully, all the technology will work properly, and this will go up on YouTube in a day or two or three,
Sweet.
and I'll let you know, of course, when it's done. So this has been the knocking bottles over. This has been the low budget interview show. I think I'm sticking with that title. I'm Eric Smith. This has been Max Booth III. Thank you very much, sir. And as I always say, until next time, read more books. And how do I stop recording? Right.